One thing in life will always be the people in this room. Right here. Right now. Salute me, familia. Salute.
Vin Diesel is one of the biggest Hollywood divas, and his lifestyle surely fits his whopping net worth. From making Fast and Furious a billion-dollar franchise to having a car collection of millions of dollars, Vin Diesel has done it all. He probably has the most expensive and luxurious cars in all of Hollywood, and that doesn't even begin to explain his luxury lifestyle. From having a car that's considered a cult classic to getting gifted a car that costs thousands of dollars, Vin has seen it all. But you're also going to see one of the world's most expensive cars in his collection, so brace yourself and stay with us while we dive into Vin Diesel's car collection. Vin Diesel wasn't really born into money, and his parents hardly made the ends meet. He didn't even know who his real father was, and he was brought up by his stepfather. But Vin revealed that he had a love for acting from the very beginning, and that's the reason why he debuted in theater only when he was 7 years old. Staying close to the theater made him fall in love with writing, and he went to college to pursue screenwriting as a full-time career. When things weren't going great in his career, he also started working as a bouncer in a nightclub, and that's where he got his name, because he wanted to sound
But the
tough.
Diesel, where did
The
that come
Diesel
from?
came in from bouncing
Oh.
because you don't want anyone to know your real name when you're bouncing.
I understand.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, that's right.
follow me?
For legal reasons, yes.
Vin had to struggle a lot to get his first role in the film, and he did play an extra in Awakenings back in the 90s. However, his career got very stationary, and he was barely getting any offers for acting. After a couple of years, he got tired and wrote his own short film and acted in it. He also collected funds for the movie and made it about an actor who's trying to get into auditions. This short film was more of an autobiography, and it got critically recognized to an extent that it was even showcased in Cannes Festival. This was what started his career, and then he again had to gather a lot of money from his bouncing career, and he made another film called Strays. This film was also critically acclaimed, and soon, Vin was getting taken seriously in Hollywood.
If you didn't see Fast 4, 5, and 6, you're not invited.
Coming from no money and working as a bouncer just so he could support his film career sounds like a huge deal, and Vin continued to do it for years, or at least until his acting income was enough to finally support him. Vin Diesel once charged $13 million to just say 3 words in a movie.
I am Groot.
So you can imagine his net worth by this. According to certain reports, he's one of the biggest paid actors in the industry and sits at the top of A-list actors and producers. Vin Diesel's net worth is about $225 million, and most of it comes from his acting career. Vin has also been a part of a $6 billion movie franchise, Fast and Furious, and he's starred in 8 out of 10 movies. He's also voiced Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy, a huge Marvel production, and Vin got about $54 million through this project. Other than that, Vin also worked in movies like XXX and Riddick, and both of them are a huge commercial success. With all this money comes a knack for shopping for super expensive stuff. It's the reason why even at the very beginning of his career, Vin bought a very luxurious house that was worth $500,000, which he later sold for $1.5 million. Currently, Vin Diesel is living in a lavish mansion in Beverly Hills that costs him around $5 million, quite fitting for an actor of his caliber. But Vin doesn't just spend his money on buying expensive properties. He also loves buying cars, and most people probably already know it, judging by his Fast and Furious car collection. However, what most people don't know is that he has some of the priciest vehicles in the world. Some of Vin's cars are worth so much that most people could only dream about them, while others don't cost that much but are still absolute classics and really rare. So his collection is actually a perfectly balanced one. Let's find out more about it. This is an absolute classic and is known for being the muscle car. It's the longest running one too, as it went from 1958 all the way to 2005. The cost of this car is about $24,000, but Vin loves to give it a spin every once in a while. However, it's mostly there as a showpiece because it surely is worthy of putting on display. Not every sports car is designed to be driven on the streets, but this particular one was super safe for the roads, and that's why Vin Diesel rushed to buy it. He paid a hefty amount of $38,795 for this car, and the interesting part is that the year Vin bought this car was the same year when the same model was also shown in the 4th movie of Fast and Furious. Vin loves to drive this car, mainly because it's super comfortable and fun, but also gives you all the feel of a sports car. This Japanese car holds its ground as being one of the most gorgeous looking cars in Vin's collection. Vin paid more than $40,000 just to get his hands on this car, and it wasn't easy because the car wasn't made in the US, so they had to import it all the way from Japan. But the jet black exterior and super luxury interior made this car worth every penny. Besides, every sports car enthusiast had a Mazda back in the day, so it was only fair for Vin to also have his dream car. This is yet another classic vehicle, and Vin had to pay more than $70,000 to get this car because of how rare it is. This actually is the last model of the 3rd generation, so it's surely worthy of being in Vin's collection. Vin takes his car out for a spin quite often, and he catches a lot of eyeballs every time he does that. This was being called a family car and was surely not for a sports car enthusiast, but Vin loved its performance and specs, which is why he immediately added it to his car collection. The speed of this car is pretty good, but the only thing that raises a lot of eyebrows is the price tag of more than $86,000. It's the price at which Vin bought this car, and a lot of people weren't happy with it, but he did get a lot of work done from this model as it's an everyday car with an added touch of comfort and luxury. This car is also limited edition, and only 503 units of this car were ever made. It cost Vin around $90,000 to buy this super fun car, and the interesting part is that Daytona is really hard to find, but Fast and Furious makers love Vin's Daytona so much that they decided to add one in their 6th Fast and Furious movie. You won't be seeing a lot of Daytona cars on the road anymore, and that's because these could be pretty pricey, and most collectors have them, a lot like Vin Diesel. This is an absolute beast of a car, but the thing is, Vin didn't pay for it. This car cost close to $699,000, and he got it as a gift on his 52nd birthday. Vin was really happy upon receiving such an overwhelming gift, and he thanked everyone in Fast and Furious 9 for giving him such a rare car. Dodge Tantrum was also featured in Fast and Furious 9 itself, and it increased the meaningfulness of the gift quite a lot. Although Vin might not be taking this rare car for a spin that often, he surely loves flaunting it to other car enthusiasts and his close friends. This is as pricey as it could get because Vin doesn't have any car that costs him more than Lykan Hypersport. Only 7 units of this car were made, and Vin got this one for about $3.4 million, which is a lot, even for an actor of his caliber. This car was also featured in the 7th movie of Fast and Furious, but that was a movie prop, made from cheap materials, while the original one is a sight to behold. It also has very rare and expensive jewels in place of its headlights, which is another reason why it's considered one of the 3 most expensive cars in the entire world.